Hello and welcome to the second training session for the new public GIS viewer. Before we jump into the Find and Identify tab, I want to go over a couple of more things related to interacting with layers and some of the things on this first screen that you're presented with. So, for example, getting around in the map, if you expand one of the layer groups and you see that the data set is grayed out, that means that it's got a scale threshold placed upon it. So you can zoom to that by just left clicking. It opens up this menu and you can zoom to make that layer visible. In the other application, you could turn layers on and off just like this. Also, you can left click and it shows you what the layer symbology is, or you can click on show legend. Also, you can collapse the toolbar with this little button here. So just turning on and off the different data sets that you want to see is easily done through the table of contents. And as I mentioned before, you can hide the map layer's table of contents by this small button here. So in the previous session, we've covered all of these tools, as well as the context menu and getting around in the map. So we'll now move to the Find and Identify toolbar. Pretty straightforward. Some of the more commonly used tools, for example, Find Address. So you just click on that tool. You can type in the address of interest. It's helpful to include a city designation. You can click on search or just hit enter. And these will be all the results that match as close as possible to what you queried for. So if I just click on that first result, it'll zoom me to 455 North Main Street. I can close that dialog by the X in the upper right-hand corner. So that's Find Address. Another thing that you can do is do street intersections. So for example, Main, you want to choose the ampersand symbol and then Central in Wichita. And it'll take you to that intersection. Pretty straightforward geocoding process. As you open up different tools, you'll see that there's a breadcrumb or icon list that starts to grow, and it allows you to quickly switch from the different screens that you've had open if you haven't closed them. So I can get to my layer list if I wanted to. I could jump back to my result set. I could geocode another address if I wanted to. But as I close them, they're removed from the group in the bottom. So querying data is pretty common. We can query for, let's say, parcel data. If I wanted to find any parcels that are greater than 2 acres, I can enter that information in there and then click run, and it's going to query the parcel data set and show me all of the results that match that criteria. I can look at the result set as a list or as a table. I can expand or collapse the width of this, or I can shift it to the wide view, which moves the table to the bottom of the interface and adjusts the map area. So as I interact with these result sets, it'll pop around and go to the different parcels that met that criteria. I can move back to the tall view by this button here, or I can close my result set. So you can query any of the layers that are in the application, and based on the um, data that is contained in that GIS layer, you can build complex queries. So that gives me a pick list of all of the different site names for the historic sites. So I can select one, and then I can add another query condition. And if I'm not sure what criteria might be in that field for designation, if I just click in my query condition box, hit space and then backspace, it'll give me a list of the data that's in that field. So in this case, there's 3 designations: regional, state, and state national for historic sites within the city of Wichita. So if I select state national, now I have 2 query conditions. The site name has to equal Chapman Noble House, and the designation has to equal state national. It's probably unlikely that they're going to match, but it did satisfy both of those criteria. So if I want to zoom to that, I can just click on the globe, or if I have it listed as a table view, I can click on the record and it highlights it. I can view additional details about it. Or if I close my results set, it'll remove the highlighting. That's the simple query tool. More commonly used is probably the point identify. So whatever layers I have turned on that are visible in my map, such as flood zones and parcels, if I click on the point identify tool and click on the map, I'm going to get 2 results. I'm going to get a parcel result, which is highlighted if I mouse over the record, and I get a flood zone result. So if I click on that, it's going to zoom me to that polygon for the area that I identified on and highlight it in my map. It's the same thing as if I right-clicked and said identify what's here. It's going to do the same tool as the point identify. We just added it to the context menu to make it a little bit more quickly accessible. I can turn my flood zones off. And the bolded titles is the group title, and then the not bolded titles is the individual layers within that group. So if you have layers turned on, the layer group has to be turned on as well. If you take the checkbox out of the layer group, it will take off all of the data sets in the map. Measuring distance is a common tool. I'll turn the aerials off so we can see the measurement a little more clear. Get zoomed in here. So I click on the measure distance tool. As long as it's highlighted, that is what tool I'm going to have in the map. So each time I left click, it'll drop a vertex for my measurement. When I double click, it'll stop the measurement and allow me to see those distances as labels. I can add this graphic, the measurement graphic, to my map as a drawing. And then I can measure other items either through the Measure Distance tool or the Measure Area tool. Measure Area tool is similar. Left click once to begin the measurement, left click again, but now it starts building a polygon instead of just a line. Double click to finish, and it will label not only the area, but each of the 4 sides of that polygon that I created. I can even change my units if I wanted to. And let's go square meters. And I can add that as a graphic as well. So now I have graphics in my tool, and I can print those or erase them. So if I erase a drawing, if I select that tool and click on it, it removes it. Or I can have chosen clear all. But those are the tools that are available in the Find and Identify tab. Pretty straightforward, hopefully intuitive. We've worked real hard to make this a much more intuitive application. Thank you for joining us. Have a good day.